Hey there, everybody. Welcome to day 44 of Big Brother 22 All-Stars. This is our latest live feed spoilers. We will talk in here about potential nominees. What is the new HOH trying to do? Who should be ducking and covering and trying to do whatever they can to save themselves? Also, other strategy talks. Is the hinky vote going to come back to haunt Danny moving forward?
Yep.
We'll get into that. Before we do, though, if you guys like this video, give us a like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Also, our Patreon live chat is happening on Sunday. There's still time to get in on that if you want to head over to our Patreon. Our link is in the description and check that out. Also, support us via the store. There's also a link to that in the description.
Okay, so just in case you guys missed out on our video last night, the new HOH is Enzo.
Meow.
So, yeah.
Meow. Okay, there I have. There's two meows. He is the new HOH.
Yes, he is. And I mean, it could be a lot worse. I mean, it's not great for Kaser, but
No.
But honestly, anybody that's going to be up there was probably going to try to just get Kaser out because everyone's really paranoid about Janelle coming back in and then the two of them being a duo again.
Enzo he's a curious player right now because, yes, he is a part of the Slick Six, but that's not really a full-on big thing. You have already coined this the BS Alliance.
Yep.
He's not really a part of the Blob Alliance with Memphis. He still has, I think, a little bit of his own mind, but it's sort of like occasionally he's free, and then occasionally, like, Cody is trying to control him like a puppet, too.
Yeah, and I mean, Enzo and Cody are sort of, at least for Enzo, this is his sort of ride or die in this. This is the person that he really trusts the most in the house.
Enzo, for now, it sounds as though his plan is going to be that Kaser is the easy target, unfortunately, because it sounds like Kaser did, well, we saw Kaser did fairly well in that first part of the HOH competition last night. It seems like he is threatening because of that. He and Enzo don't have that much of a relationship. It's an easy, I don't get any major blood on my hands moves. Yes, everyone is playing so conservatively and it's driving me crazy, but I get it.
Yeah, I get it too. It is an all-star season and there's extra pressure on people to play a really good game because if not, then it's like, why are you on this season? And,
Yeah.
and that kind of judgment comes out.
I understand ultimately Kaser being a target. It sounds like he's just going to go up there with a pawn. David is such an easy choice just because of the past weekend David. We don't need to spell out the evidence at this point.
Yeah, but if David's the pawn, is he really a pawn? I mean, so many people are mad at him.
Yeah, it's an interesting debate, right? It's sort of like, if you just want to ensure that Kaser goes, maybe you put up someone like Kevin, who nobody is really threatened about Kevin. Nobody's really that close to Kevin other than maybe Davon. So that's sort of like the easy choice.
Kevin's the easy choice. We'll see who he actually ends up landing on as far as a pawn. But he has said that if Kaser comes off the block, his target is going to be to backdoor Ian, which is a pretty good move, and I hate to say it, but I mean, Ian has won this game. Ian is doing very well in this game. He's really under the radar, which is crazy to me because he is a winner that beat Dan, and he's very smart. So it's not a bad move.
It's not a bad move, and the other part of this, though, that really kind of has my antenna, this is not my devil horns, these are antenna this time, so let's just roll with it, but my antenna are out right now because
maybe you have to give yourself, like, 2.
Okay, there we go, there we go. Well, whatever they are, they're out because I'm thinking a lot about, okay, what if what if Kaser just plays dead over the next several days? Doesn't say a lot, doesn't get himself in trouble. Let's just say, hypothetically, Enzo wins the power of veto. And getting rid of Kaser, maybe it's not going to be that dramatic a move unless you're really afraid that Janelle is going to come back into the game. Is there a way that even if Kaser doesn't win the veto, Enzo is like, you know what? I have an opportunity to try to get rid of Ian. And Kaser's never made the jury. Ian has won the freaking game. It feels like by far Ian is the bigger threat of the two.
He absolutely is the bigger threat of the two, and it would be a great move for him to have on his resume to be like, I took out Ian over I took out Kaser, who is by himself in this game and hasn't, he's won the safety, but he hasn't won anything else, and sort of it is a better move for Enzo's resume. But at this point, I think it's weird because it seems like it's less about who got out who, but just who has the most amount of wins. This is the new school way of things. I have 100 HOHs and 50 vetoes. Okay, great. Well, who'd you get out on them? It doesn't matter.
That's what I have to say about the how many comp wins that you have argument. It's about how you control the game that really matters, and that's why, Cody... I've said Cody may not always be one of the most exciting players to watch, but the amount of control that Cody has on a lot of players is really remarkable, because you've got Danny coming to him with information constantly. Nicole seems to think that Cody is her number one. Enzo and Cody have that really close alliance. There's also somewhat of a Cody-Tyler thing going on. Cody is in a million different alliances, and Cody, I think, has a lot of power, because let's talk about this hypothetical situation here where ultimately Enzo wins the veto. Cody, we know that Nicole is really the person who may look out for Ian the most. Would Cody stick his neck out there that far in order to protect Ian if there is a hypothetical situation where Ian could go on the block?
I just don't think so. I don't know why Cody would. He's balancing too many spinning plates right now to do something like that. I think Ian could actually really be in trouble this week.
I think there is a good chance, and he's just so dangerous, and especially when you get to the end of the game and a lot of those competitions become like, it's an endurance, it's a how well do you know the game sort of competition.
Yeah, and Ian, I mean, he's trying, we saw on the show last night, he's like, I'm gonna try to play like I'm dumb, but you just can't. We already know that you're not, and we've all seen your season. We all know that you're very smart, and I get that he's just in this tough situation because everyone knows how smart he is. Yeah. Everyone knows he beat Dan. He's won the game. He beat a legend. There's not a lot that he can really do except sort of try to lay back a little bit, but he also really needs to just build more alliances than just Nicole.
Yeah, and he's kind of talked a little bit about maybe getting something going with Kaser after Janelle goes, but it's how far is Ian gonna stick his neck out for Kaser when Kaser's the obvious target now?
Yeah, it's not looking good.
Do you want to know something that makes me just scream internally? Kind of like this. I don't know if anybody can hear that, but okay, so...
More than Janelle's fans screaming at their TV and Julie's nonsense.
Okay, so... Janelle expressed her fear that Kaser was going to go and just run and talk to Memphis about everything. Shortly after the feeds come back, Kaser and Memphis have a long conversation, and it's not like any game-breaking information happened, but I was just sitting there being like, no, Kaser, don't do it.
It's so easy for us, though, on the outside to know, because we have all the information. Kaser doesn't have any of the information. I mean, even Janelle didn't really know that Memphis wasn't with them until Julie was like, look over here. She was like, oh, no.
Julie just wants to show off that alliance like nobody's business. This is her favorite thing right now.
Yeah, it is.
So, okay, well, speaking of things from last night, Pinky Vote Gate is fascinating because Danny really thought that she sort of pulled something off here with her and Enzo casting their votes to a bit Kaser and temporarily giving a lot of Big Brother fans a heart attack that Janelle had a chance of staying.
Yeah, and it didn't work out quite the way I think Danny thought it was going to work out, because she did go to Cody first to ask him if he wanted to do this, and he said, absolutely not, I'm not interested in doing this. And then all of a sudden, mysteriously, 2 votes. Where could they come from? So Danny tried to smooth it over a little bit with Cody to act like she was like, oh man, could you imagine if we did this last night? There would have been 4 votes. And Cody was just like, I kind of wondered if you just got somebody else. Oh, no, I would never do that. I came to you. And he was like, all right. And then he went and talked to Enzo about it I was just like, I don't know about this, man. It is just too weird. It doesn't feel right. Something's not right. Cody knows in his heart that it was Danny.
Couple of things here, Cody. Number one, I recognize that you are playing a very, very good game. Why do you hate fun so much, Cody? Pinky votes are fun. Why couldn't you have just done the Pinky vote in the first place? But the irony here is that Danny shouldn't have done this after she went to Cody and talked to him about it, and he was the fun police on it and was like, no, because now he obviously knows that she was someone who was thinking about it, and
yeah, it was a good move until Cody said no. And then you're going to bring in Enzo on this. And of course, it's going to end up looking like it's going to get pinned on Bailey and Davon. And they're not happy about it. But Enzo's working with them. And, you know, so is Danny. They're all part of the Slick Six. So I get kind of what she wanted to do. But none of it really worked out into anything, really. Yeah, Cody's trying to do some due diligence and be like, this is super weird, Enzo. What do you think? And Enzo's, oh, yeah, it could be that. It could be this. It could be that. He just threw out everything. But he's so convincing in the way that he says things that even when he's scrambling and sort of throwing everything at the wall, he just feels so genuine. And you can see it all over Cody's face. It's like, yeah, it could be that. Oh, yeah, it could be this. Sure, it could also be this. It was very interesting.
I just feel like, in general, Cody's got to know that Bailey and Davon are smart players and that they're not going to go against the rest of the house this early, even for Janelle. So I think that Danny, nobody's going to, at least in this alliance, nobody's coming for Danny right now. But 3 weeks down the road, 4 weeks down the road, let's say we lose Kaser this week, let's say Ian goes somewhere in here, let's say Davon and Bailey get split up and one of them is remaining, why wouldn't people start to look at Danny at that point and be like, you know what, we already know she's being shifty, let's just get her out before she gets us out?
Yeah, and Enzo in that conversation with Cody even sort of said, you know, it's a bit too early to target the girls. And he didn't say exactly who he was talking about, but it felt like he was kind of talking about Nicole and Danny.
Yeah,
because he's saying, you know, everybody, you know, the girls need to step up more and this and that feels like who he's talking about.
And I think we're going to get to that point where eventually it happens and everyone is just sort of buying their time. And, you know, as a feed watcher, I want to get there faster. I want to get through a lot of this stuff that's a little bit more predictable. Maybe we'll have someone sort of blow up a little bit later on down the road this week. It's just, we're not there yet, and instead we're hearing people talk about maybes and what ifs.
The thing is that there's a part of me that really wants Nicole and Danny to find out how pissed off the guys are starting to get that they're not winning anything. Because Enzo is not the first person that has brought this up. Other people have brought it up. Memphis is getting really upset that the guys are taking all the heat and that the girls in the alliance are not getting any wins right now. That is getting sort of if they keep getting more and more pissed about it, they are just going to kick them out of the alliance and they're going to go. This is the only time to not target the rest of the women in the house, Nicole and Danny. I know you're not listening to me.
But you were.
But if you were, this is the time to make sure that the rest of the women don't go. And I know you want them all to go, but it is such a colossally bad move right now because the men are over you guys not winning anything. And that also just sucks because in general, like, there are other gameplays. It doesn't have to just be, I won 100 HOHs. Yeah. Danny's move, if Cody had said yes, would have worked out really, really well for her. This could have been a really good move.
Are you ready for a Christmas punishment update?
Yep.
They were still they were still there overnight. The Star Babies have not completely left the building, or at least they hadn't last night. And Christmas, she's having conversations with them because this is what happens and there's no Orwell in there to converse with anymore.
Yep.
She wants Enzo to go after Bailey and Davon. She's still sort of on that. But that is kind of what's interesting about all of this is that people like Christmas. Enzo has been like, you're okay, but they're not fully aligned in the same way as some other people. There's going to be a lot of interesting fallout. Like if Bailey and Davon don't go up this time, Christmas may be like, wonder what what's going on here. I wonder why they're not going on the block when so many people are talking about maybe putting them on the block.
For sure. And what I'm most curious to see about this week with Enzo being HOH, and he did give his +1 to Christmas, and he has said that he wants to kind of build a better bridge with her. Is this the week that happens then? I mean, he's in power. She feels some way towards him because he gave her the +1. This could be something that could grow, and we could see sort of maybe a switch out of Danny and Nicole and switch in Christmas.
We shall see what develops today. I'm doing this hoping that this will signal drama happening in the house, even though it may not. But anyway, we will be back to discuss nominations a little bit later on. But what do you guys think Enzo should do this week? Let us know in the comments. And if you do like this video, give us a like, subscribe, and also support us further. Check those links to our Patreon, the store, and we'll see you here next time.